school administrators are handing out computers and mobile devices, and Comcast agreed to provide free Wi-Fi for the next 60 days for our kids who will be at home and may want to take some education there. We also have restaurants providing free lunch. Jimmy John's in Tallahassee providing free sandwiches to kids during these school closures. Toasted Restaurant in Orange County providing free kids meals this week, Monday through Friday. We announced our initiative down in Broward County with Memorial, our National Guard, for more convenient drive-through type testing. It's important to recognize folks throughout the state are making testing options more available. We have obviously more capacity to do that. People have test kits. So Fort Myers, Pensacola, West Palm, Tallahassee, you're seeing healthcare folks really working to get that in the community. So we really appreciate their efforts, and this is not something that can be done from Washington, D.C., can't be done just from Tallahassee, really requires all the folks in our communities to do well. We have just obviously received a new guidance from the CDC, so we are in the process of internalizing those recommendations and seeing how that would influence and affect any policy in the state of Florida. But I can tell you that the key guidance of being, if you're somebody who is elderly, if you're somebody that has a significant medical condition, please avoid any types of crowded gatherings and stay home if at all possible. That's the best way to be able to protect you if you're in those vulnerable capacities. Anybody, regardless of their age or regardless of whether they have an underlying health condition, if you end up not feeling well, stay home from work, get better, but don't go to work with your sick. And I know the Congress is working on things. I think clearly there's a need to provide immediate relief for folks who may be dislocated as a result of what we're seeing right now with the economy, but then also to provide an incentive for people to stay home if they're sick. They shouldn't have to make a decision about, well, I'm sick, I don't really want to go to work, but if I don't go to work, then I can't pay my rent. So I think Congress has a responsibility to address that. I want to say something. We had a call today with the president and the vice president and all the governors. There was a news report out about saying that the president just said, you guys just get your own supplies. Be careful what you believe. I think what he was saying was something that's very sensible. We have requests in for the federal government for things like ventilators, for example, and we probably will get some of those fulfilled. We also are getting our own, in addition to the stockpile we have, getting those directly from the manufacturers and paying for those. And what the president was saying, if you can go get them yourself, you can then cut out the federal bureaucracy and potentially get it quicker. There's no financial difference either way. It's going to be a 75% federal reimbursement on either side. And so what he was saying was sensible, and that's the exact advice that Jared has been seeking these on our own from the beginning, as well as seeking help from the federal stockpile. So I thought it was important to just clear that up. St. Patrick's Day, it seems every community in Florida that had a parade has canceled the parade. I think that makes sense. I know Tampa and Fort Lauderdale have done it, St. Augustine. Look, it's a great day. It's a great day to have fun, and we'll just make it even better next year. But now's the time to stay home. If you can fire up a Guinness in your own house, no problem with that. You're not going to get any arguments from me, but I think it's good. Our real big announcements today recognize the economic consequences that we're seeing with what is going on with the coronavirus, and particularly the effect that this may have, what is having, and the potential to have even greater effect on our small businesses. Yesterday, I sent a letter to the Federal Small Business Administration to turn on the SBA loan program for small businesses. I think that's important, but I don't think that's enough. So today, we're going to supplement those SBA loans with a $50 million bridge loan program from the state of Florida. Now, this amount may be expanded at a later time based on demand and necessity, but this will be available for small businesses in all counties within the state from 2 to 100 employees. You can get $50,000 immediately, 1-year term, and a limit of 1 loan per business, 0% fixed rate, and no prepayment penalty. The reason this is important is We think that this is obviously something that's affecting the economy. We hope this is not something that affects the economy infinitum, that it's relatively short. The problem is, if you're in some of these industries that are really getting hit, you have a cash flow issue, particularly if you have tight margins. So this is a way to kind of keep people afloat. And then when we get on the other side of this, hopefully can be able to get back to business as usual. The other thing that we're doing, because we recognize the tax flow issues, is cash flow issues, is providing tax assistance for businesses. So I'm directing the Department of Revenue to provide flexibility on the deadlines of taxes due, such as corporate income tax and sales tax, to assist businesses that are adversely affected from COVID-19 mitigation measures. Some of these corporate income tax payments can be deferred till the end of the fiscal year. Probably doesn't make that big of a difference from the state either way, but it may make a big difference for a company that is having problems with cash flow. We are at the Department of Health going to now do twice daily official updates in terms of the infections and the test results, 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. If you go to floridahealth.gov now, you actually can click on a link where they have the entire state of Florida. You can go county by county, see the number of cases, and see who has, we documented a certain number of international travel. So they have some pretty good amplifying information on there. And again, that's at floridahealth.gov. I did ask HHS to send us back those 61 Floridians in Georgia. We think that the plane, it should have arrived in Sanford, Florida within the last hour or two to drop off 16 of those Floridians. They will be transported to their homes via bus transportation, and the remaining passengers will arrive in Fort Lauderdale by 6, where HHS contracted with another bus company to take them home. We'll have Department of Health teams working with each individual, walk them through the next stages of isolation and testing, but I'd much rather have them self-isolating back at home than be in another state at an Air Force base, which the accommodations may not be what we would like. Now, 15 of those people have elected to simply stay, and I think the main reason is some of them have family members who are sick, so they wanted to stay with those. We're staying in close contact with business, local, federal officials. We spoke with a number of folks in both the private sector and the public sector. I want to thank some folks. We obviously are doing stuff with testing with the state. You have some of the healthcare providers are doing things as well. But the federal government is rolling out an opportunity to expand testing, particularly some of the drive-by testing. So we're seeking their involvement here in Florida. We think we'd be a good state to have some of those test centers. So we've already gotten approval. I spoke with the owner of the Dolphins today, Steve Ross. They're going to let us use the parking lot at the Dolphins Stadium. The Jacksonville Jaguars will let us use that stadium, and the Orange County the parking lot at that stadium, and the Orange County Convention Center will let us use that parking lot. And so, as the federal government sends resources for that, we're ready to receive it, ready to work with them on both the state and local level. So we hope that they're able to do that and do that very quickly. So the snapshot of cases in Florida, most recent, 137 Florida residents, 18 non-Florida residents. We have had 4 fatalities, 3 in Florida, 1 out of state, 760 negative test results, 568 pending test results. We've monitored 1,653 people to date. As of this afternoon, 38 infections in Broward, which is our most prevalent county in terms of infections. So we'll hear some updates from some of our folks here, then I'm happy to take a few questions. So the Surgeon General, you want to provide an update?
Thank you, Governor. Governor, I want everybody to realize, although this is a massive state response, each of you and your communities can do things to stop the spread of COVID-19. First,